Hi everyone, Electronic Scrapbooker here. One of the first things that I noticed whenever I was using the MyMemories Suite program is trying to find what it is I'm needing to add to my scrapbook that I'm working on. This may seem like something simple, but I did discover it had some limitations with the program, and I'm going to show y'all an example here. Okay, so say I'm wanting to look in embellishments. I'm wanting to add an embellishment to my scrapbook. So I have all of these embellishments listed here. These are all the embellishments that I have available. Each folder has more and more embellishments. So say I'm looking for sprays. So I do a search for sprays. And this is all that comes up, is this one embellishment here, out of all the tons of embellishments I have. So basically what I learned is that this program here, what I would call a spray, is actually called a cluster here. So whenever I search for clusters, all these things pop up that I would have considered, you know, a spray, you know, or sometimes they call it a grouping. No, they didn't call it a grouping. When in actuality what I want is what's really called flourishes. And so see, I have a lot more options here when I do that search versus doing the search for spray. So this software doesn't think the way that I think, and it doesn't think the way that normal scrappers think when they put in their normal, you know, our normal scrapbooking lingo that we think of for embellishments. It doesn't think the same way that we think, and it's probably because whoever made this program is located in a different part of the country and they call their things something different or something. So it's not a problem though. I did some digging, I watched some YouTube videos on things similar to what this would be, and I tried it two different ways. One way was I added my own, in this search thing, I added my own way of doing things. So I added my own categories. And this worked to an extent, but I did discover that there's like a limit to how many things can be in a category. For example, numbers. You know, there's a lot more numbers in my program that I already have downloaded than are showing in here. And it was very frustrating because I went almost all the way through all of my folders before I realized it wasn't saving every single one of them. It basically hit a max and then stopped at that max. So again, very frustrating. So I was like, okay, again, how can I get these done the way that I want them to? That's whenever I discovered that whenever you're searching for something in here, it is basing it off of the name of the file. So say I'm looking for a giraffe. I don't even know if there's a giraffe in here. I'm just using that as an example. And there's not, supposedly. Now let's see if there's actually a giraffe in here. That would be funny. Come on. Okay, there's not one. Let's say I'm looking for a dog. So again, only one thing pops up, and that's because the name of the file is dog. This is hot dog and best dog ever. So again, my best thought was that it's going off of the name of the file as how it's searching. So I was like, okay, so that means I need to change the file names of these. And like I said, I did some searching on YouTube to try to find out how to fix these things and to make sure I'm not going to do something that's going to mess up the whole entire program and nothing work ever again. So basically they said you go into your program files. So my program files is located in my C drive right here. And then I go to my program files, and then I go to MyMemories Suite because that's the program I'm wanting to do this in. So double click there. And what I'm looking for is actually in this components file. Not in the actual program itself, but in the components file. So I double click there. Here you see all the different things that you can look for. Backgrounds, which are your papers. Embellishments, which are your normal embellishments that you would use. Fonts, which are different font types that the program uses. Imprints, which are kind of like stamps in a way. Shapes, templates, themes, and word art. All of that kind of speaks for itself. So I'm looking in backgrounds, right? And then inside backgrounds, that folder, there's a theme folder. Perfectly fine. All of these are divided into different categories. I don't know if anything would happen if I messed with these categories, but I'm kind of okay with it because it's not going to bother me after I do all this, because I'm going to rename everything and I'm going to use the search feature going forward for anything I need. So it doesn't bother me that these are in categories. And then I keep going basically until I start seeing pages. So this is a file, this is a folder here where I already renamed the pages. So basically this is a gingham pattern here. So I named it Black Gingham. And then what the important thing to remember when you're doing this though is that one of them's the name of the file that will actually be used on your scrapbook page. The other one is the name of the file, which is the thumbnail that you see when you're searching within the program, which are these little things. Like this is the thumbnail of the dog. But when I click on the dog and he shows up, that's the JPEG file. So this is the, this file here. Okay, so that is why it's important to name both of them, and it's important to name both of them the same thing. Because if you don't, then say dog and say you name the thumbnail's cat, it's going to have a thumbnail of the cat, but then when you click on it, it puts a dog down. That's not what you wanted. So that's just a weird example, but you would want them to be the same name. So it's easy just to rename them at the same time. So again, these were already done, so I'm going to keep going and I'm going to show you ones that I haven't done yet. Okay, so this folder I was working in, actually I finished that one too. So we're moving to this one next. So you bring up your file folder here. If yours is listed just like this with just the details, right here in the very bottom right hand corner, there's a little, like, it looks like a picture basically. And this displays it using large thumbnails. So click that, and it helps you to see your papers better. But if for some reason you're going through it and you can't really see what design's on the paper, you can always double click and it'll bring it up for you to have a better sample of it. Okay, so this one I like. It's like a bluish green, and it's got a textured effect to it. So I'm going to name this as blue green textured and hit enter. I'm clicking on the file again, and you can do this two different ways. You can click on it a second time and it goes to let you rename it, or you can click on it and right click and hit rename. It's the same thing. You're doing the same thing either way. And so since this one was named blue green textured, I need to rename this one blue green textured. And then this is the thumbnail, so it has to have .jpeg at the end, JPG, and hit enter. So those are named now. If for some reason you're doing this and you get an error message saying that, and you get this a lot in Windows 10, and that's what I'm using is Windows 10. If you get an error message saying that an administrator is not letting you change the name or whatever, you can hit continue. But at that point, you need to kind of stop, because you're just going to run into a bunch of errors in the system. MyMemories Suite, when you go to the folder that has that particular file in it, will pop up an error message. When you add it to your scrapbook, it's going to pop up an error message. It's going to bring those things in that folder over here and pop up an error message. It's just a bunch of error message fiascos, which is what I was having when I first started this. With the help of my husband, he helped me figure out what to do. So what you do if you're running into that problem is you go back to your components folder here, which I have it just on the right side. Right click it, go to properties, and you're going to see all your stuff here, and it's doing fun things. Go to security. I know, sounds scary, right? But I assure you it's not. You go down to where you're an administrator, and it's going to be one of these two. So there's like this main one here, then there's administrator, and then there's like users. You want to make sure that all of these are set up to allow full control. See, it says permission for users, full control, allow. If it doesn't have that checked, you'll need to click on edit, and then from here it should let you click on it. If for some reason it doesn't let you, click add. And all it wants is like a name here. So this is normally your Microsoft name. So the main name that's on your computer when you're signing in, which is my email address for me. But it might be something different for you depending on what you have your Microsoft account set at. So for mine, it's Mrs. Mandy Miller at gmail.com. You just do that and do check names. And it does it there. And then you hit OK. And then from there it should allow you to do the checks at that point. And then you would hit OK. And then again, just make sure all of these are set up that way. So see, all mine are set to allow, allow, and top one, allow. So I'm good to go. You would click apply at that point and hit OK. From there on, you should not get any more error messages for anything that you have to rename. And so I'm going back here to my backgrounds, to my themes. I'm going to babies, birth boy, that's where I was at, okay? And I'm just going to show you, we renamed this blue-green textured, right? So now I'm going to go into my memory suite and say I want to use that as my background. So I'm going to go to my backgrounds and add. Okay, and see, these are these gingham papers I just renamed. They're already falling in there. But we're going to look for blue textured. So I'm doing a search. And interesting, it didn't fall in there yet. We might have to rename it. Or not rename it, but reopen the program. Okay, it didn't come up when I did blue textured, but it came up when I did textured. Still a little annoying, but at least it came up. So it's coming up better. And then if I do blue, that file should be under here as well. And there it is, blue-green textured. And of course it's got the name of the file that I named it as. And if I'm looking for green, say I'm wanting to look, and then I want to find that one as well. Under green, here it is, blue-green textured. And I could even do green textured. If I did that, it brings it right up. So either way that I'm going to search, I'm going to find this eventually. I might have to play around with it, but I'll find the paper I'm looking for. And so then I'm going to add it to my page. And then boom, my puppy dog's got a cute little background now. I'm going to do this with all of my background pages and also my embellishments too. Because like I said, it helps to rename those as well so that whatever you're looking for, you'll be able to find it easier. So, for example, in order to rename my embellishments, that's going to be under the embellishment folder. Designer embellishments, and again, they're all in these categories again, which I don't care. I'm just going to keep going till I get to the first file. It's got all my information here. So this one's Dragonfly. I'm going to rename it as Orange Dragonfly. And then this I need to rename, and this one's different. It's a .png one instead. Sometimes that's the case. I think all the embellishments are .png, all the backgrounds are .jpg. So we're going to rename this one Orange Dragonfly to coincide with that one, and then it's got .png. So we're going to keep that and hit enter. And so then this one we're going to rename as Red Dragonfly. And then Red Dragonfly. And it's always good, and you'll know that you're renaming everything, because it's basically going to be a flow to your file folder when you're done. It's going to go picture, thumbnail, picture, thumbnail. And that's just a good rule of thumb. If for some reason it's putting like the thumbnail before the picture, that means you have a typo somewhere. You need to check your file name and make sure everything's good. So as long as they all flow together, then you're fine and you're not going to have any issues. And so now I've renamed them, and I'm going to try to go find my embellishment. So I click here and I go to add, and now I'm wanting to find my Red Dragonfly. So I click on Red Dragonfly and it pops right up right there. And so then I can add it to my file here. And so there it is. Now why you would want a dog and a dragonfly on your same page, I don't know. Maybe I want to make it a small dragonfly so it makes it look like it's flying above the doggy like that. I don't know. It's just a good scenario for this case to illustrate it. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you that are trying to find out ways to search for their embellishments quicker using the MyMemories Suite program. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Bye.